Welcome to Three Questions, sponsored by the 18th Legislative District, Washington State Democrats. I'm your host, Wil Fuentes. My guest today is Washington State Senator and former City of Battleground Mayor and City Council member, Adrian Cortes. He's here to talk about what's happening in Battleground. Let's learn a little bit more. Senator Adrian Cortes, welcome back to Three Questions. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Well, thank you for having me, and I want to congratulate you on your success with this program. I'm hearing great things in your growing influence statewide, and so congratulations for that.
That's good. Good to hear that we're hearing some positive reviews about the show, and we certainly want to make sure that we spotlight the most important people that are making changes here in the community. So we're here to talk about Battleground and then some of the things that are happening. Why don't we get to the very first question?
Sure.
Question number one. You've served on the Battleground City Council and later as a mayor, so you've had front row seat to the city's evolution. Looking at Battleground today, what has changed politically and civically over the past several years?
Right. Yes, so I served for 3 terms on the Battleground City Council, including 1 term as mayor. But going back even past that, I grew up in Battleground from age 6. Okay. And so I've seen quite a bit happen and quite a bit transpire in the city. I remember at one point the only thing that you would find in Battleground is Rocky's Pizza, a grocery store, and then the main entrance to come in and out of Battleground was Caples Road, not 503. And so I've definitely seen a lot change in terms of socially, politically, and the like. I think it's important to recognize that, because even with that growth, we've been able to still have a small town feel. But I think it's important that people like myself that have grown up in the area have been able to be in leadership positions. And so, like when I go to the grocery store or when I'm out and about, people recognize me. I still maintain some of the same friends I had when I graduated from high school at the Battleground School District, and it's important to have that person that you grew up with, right, that you're familiar with, and somebody that can be as transparent and honest as possible when we're talking about the ever demanding needs of our community. Now, moving forward in terms of what has changed, well, a lot has changed. Since I've been on council, and actually it has been a relatively short amount of time. That growth that I talked about has brought in a lot of outside forces into our city. Most of them have been positive. There have been some of them that have been negative. And I think we're seeing some of those negative forces at play today in Battleground politics. Recently, we saw a whole host of negative stories on how we had some newcomers that hadn't been in the city or had that deeper roots in the community like I have had, but have got on city council and got in positions of authority, and now are pushing a very particular narrative that is very divisive, right? And one thing I've learned on city council is, and as a leader in the community, is people want the small town feel, but they want a quiet community, right? They already hear the garbage and the noise that's going out there, at the federal level and national level, but they just want to live their lives, right? They want to take their kids to their soccer games. They want to, work hard, come home at the end of the day, relax with their families, so on and so forth. They don't want to see what's happening at the national level start to make its way to their small community.
That's right.
But unfortunately, you're seeing some of that now, right?
Yeah, people want to go to Rocky's. Is Rocky's still there, by the way?
Rocky's is there. Rocky's is there, thankfully.
Yeah. You also have a Safeway and a margarita factory.
We have a margarita factory. We have a Walmart. We have a Fred Mart. Yeah, we're getting lots of. It's really exploded.
About 30,000 people in the city of Battleground. So it's not a small town anymore. It's definitely a city. It's got character. Stuff is going on. Now, you haven't been a mayor for about a year and a half now. You've been in your Washington State position for about a year and a half, as a state senator representing the 18th Legislative District. let's talk. The Battleground has been in the media a lot, not just local, but also at the national level. So let's talk a little bit about that. Question number 2. So here's my next question for you, Adrian. As I mentioned, Battleground has received significant attention over the past year, mainly because of reporting on the growing influence of certain political, religious, and business interests. Now, some residents see positive community investment. Right? It's great. Others have raised concerns about transparency, accountability, and the separation of church and state. Now, from your perspective, as a community leader, as a community resident, what should residents be paying attention to?
Right. No, and it's a very important question that needs to be tackled straightforward. Like I said, I've grown up in the Battleground area from age 6 and seen a lot change, a lot of growth, a lot of people come from outside the area, inside the area. But one thing that has been consistent year in and year out from my time in Battleground, and I still currently call Battleground home, is it's a strong community network. It's small community feel. It's the families that choose to call it home, and the faith-based communities that choose to call it home. And we have a lot of great faith-based communities that are in Battleground, whether it's your Slavic faith-based community, whether it's your Baptist, whether it's your Catholic, whether it's your Latter-day Saints, whether it's your Apostolic Lutheran.
It's very diverse.
Very, very diverse. As a matter of fact, my daughter married into a very well-known family that is very established in the Apostolic Lutheran community. Okay. And so I've had and I went to high school with many individuals that were associated with the Apostolic Lutheran community, and so I have a very, very deep understanding of that community, and they're great stewards of the community. I think what has changed, though, is we do have anywhere between 2 to 3 faith-based community that have a very, very targeted political agenda.
Right.
And that political agenda is to seize control of government and to force or instill certain values in the community that are very contrary to most people in Battleground, as well as most people in Clark County and the state.
Yeah.
One of those communities that has been in the news lately has revolved around Maddox.
Okay.
And
Maddox Industries,
Maddox
right?
Industries. Maddox Industries is a wonderful business that has recently moved from outside the area into Battleground. It's close to $1 billion company.
Oh, wow. It's
which
large.
Is by far the largest company we've ever had relocate to our community.
So it's a large employer.
It's a very large employer. They employ really good family wage jobs, which is all good.
Which is great,
right?
yeah.
Unfortunately, whether this is by design or whether this is because their message or their image has been hijacked by other people, they have been associated with Christian nationalism movement.
Okay.
And specifically, they've been associated with the pastor that is the pastor to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Doug Wilson. And we all know how very polarizing that individual is. Due to what he stands for in terms of he doesn't believe women should ever have a right to vote.
Right.
And he believes...
Should stay at home and have many kids.
And he believes that we should have a new type of society that's managed by Christian nationalism, so on and so forth. So very controversial, very polarizing. And Maddox, Camden and his brother Mac, as well as other individuals are involved. Again, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, because I have worked with them in the past, being on city council, serving for 3 terms, as well as the mayor. I've had a great working relationship with them, and my interaction with them has always been positive, right? And so I hope that what they're doing has either not been hijacked by other individuals that have a different agenda than them and are using them, but what I really hope is that they're not actually a part of the greater description that I already told you
about the movement.
Yeah.
Now, they've, there's actions that they're taking that people are concerned about, right? Yeah. Specifically, buying up a lot of businesses, which is nothing unusual, for businesses to sell or properties to sell in a jurisdiction. But you have a large company that has deep pockets that is buying up property. In addition to buying up property, they just recently bought The Reflector, which is North County's local newspaper based out of Battleground. What do those actions tell you? Do they concern you as much as they concern some of the other community members that have been reported in other media outlets?
Yeah, I mean, on its own, it doesn't concern me in a vacuum. But to give our viewers some perspective of, for example, The Reflector. So The Reflector is a regional newspaper that has been in existence for over 100 years.
Long time.
I remember when Marvin Case was the former owner, and he actually lived in the community. You could go into his office and you could talk to him about something. He may write something up as the editor and the owner. Very, very open and transparent. And then he owned it for many, many years and eventually sold it to the Chronicle, which I believe it's the Chehalis Chronicle, which is up north. And it's well known that the Chronicle has a political bent to it. It's very right-leaning.
Right.
And so when that happened, there were some concerned citizens out there thinking that, it's going to be a propaganda machine. And to an extent, it has leaned that way. And so, that is not new in itself. But what is new, again, the Maddox brothers, again, bringing in good jobs, but bringing in a company with sales of close to $1 billion, never happened in our community before. Right. And they are buying up real estate everywhere. They, for all intents and purposes, they practically own all of downtown, Old Town Battleground. They purchased recently The Reflector, and I heard just the other day that they were either about to or had already purchased Rocky's Pizza, a very iconic.
Wow!
Like I said,
it was there since you were a kid.
That was one of the original things there, and so they're buying up all these things. They have a lot of their employees that sit on the city council. They have employees that sit on the school board, and so from somebody outside looking in, you could say, "Wow, they're trying to own the city, right?" Whether that's a fair judgment or not, people can make up their own minds about it. And I know where they're coming from. They're saying they're trying to reinvest and trying to, keep the community vibrant. But they certainly can't be naive to think that, what the optics look like, right?
Which just seems very targeted,
it
right?
Does.
Coming to a small community, slightly north of Vancouver, and buying up a lot of real estate and the local newspaper. In addition to having the mayor works at Maddox, correct?
He does. He does. And I think one thing that's important to point out is that I went to it was a soft grand opening to their newest facility that they're going to be breaking ground on. It's going to be a 30,000 square foot conference center, in addition to a 16,000 square foot church. And it's being dubbed as a community, area, right? Although it is for a specific church.
Right.
The main contractor on it is Tappaney Underground. Again, a very well-known, established business in our community. And actually, I am technically related to the Tappaneys now. But one thing that's different from Maddox Industries than from Tappaney is a very large company. We're talking, tens of millions to hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. Probably the largest employer in our community right now at the time. But they subscribe to giving back to their community in a very behind the scenes, very humble way. Living kind of a quiet life. Very, very different juxtaposition from a Maddox that is very out in front and wants everybody to know that they're here. And like I said, rightfully or wrongfully, they're being associated with certain groups that certainly have a very national agenda.
Yeah, and so I want to get into that in the next question, because you mentioned that there is that connection, that relationship that they've established in the community, some faith-based communities, and whether it's by design or by attention, we don't really know. And I think you mentioned giving them benefit of the doubt. So let's talk a little bit about misinformation on both sides, right? Question number 3. Adrian, let's talk a little bit about misinformation. Many people today say they don't know what information to trust anymore, right? I think that if you spoke to the average person, they'll tell you that, right? Between social media, podcasts, and even traditional media, misinformation can spread very quickly. What responsibility do elected officials have in helping people separate fact from fiction?
Oh boy, do I know about misinformation and disinformation. Look, I've had close to 20 years of being in the local political arena at some level in our county, in Clark County, in our community, and I've had definitely plenty of I've been the target of plenty of misinformation and disinformation campaigns, but I've had some time to develop a very, very thick skin when it comes to that. But one thing that I have discovered that I adhere to time and time again, and will continue to as long as the community wants me to be a leader in the community, is that it's important to be authentic, to be yourself, and to be very transparent. People put trust in individuals that are authentic and transparent. It's no accident that when I ran for state senate in the 18th legislative district, a seat that had been held by Republicans for the past 30 years, that I was able to flip the seat and be the first Democrat to hold that seat in 30 years.
It's amazing.
Which is, I attribute it to many, many things, obviously, but one of those things is being authentic, right?
Yeah.
And telling people that, hey, you may see these ads that are being run against me that don't give you the full picture, or they're outright lying. You know who I really am. I've been here since I was 6 years old. You know what I stand for. And so I think trust. Having trust and having a network of trustful individuals that you could reach out to, including elected officials.
Yeah. Now, the trust, the transparency, being authentic, these are things that not just elected officials should be held accountable for, right? So should business leaders. Let's assume that Maddox Industries' intentions are to create the type of community that we've talked a little bit about, right? And connecting these folks with, Christian nationalist movements. What if it is by design? How do you think the community will react?
Well, I think that's a really interesting question. Again, I'll reiterate, I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt that they are not. Right. That they are being hijacked by other forces that have ulterior motives and are just using them. Right. Forces, again, that are well established to, Pete Hegseth's pastor, Doug Wilson, and the like. But that being aside, to kind of answer your question head on, if they are intentionally trying to create a white nationalist utopia and a certain vision for their religious viewpoints and have Battleground the base of that, I'd like to think, and I truly do believe deep down inside me, that the community as a whole does not support that and does not support some of those ideologies and does not support individuals outside coming in trying to force a certain narrative on them. All we have to do is look back on other extreme ideologies that have happened in our community. Your David Medors, your Ken Fishers, right? These are individuals of enormous wealth. Ken Fisher was one of, and is probably one of the wealthiest individuals on the planet, worth billions of dollars, and he moved into the community. He moved into Camas. He actually relocated all of his wealth management to Camas, spent enormous amounts of money, and also spent enormous amounts of money to buy influence and to play in local and statewide politics, only to see that the community rose up against him, pushed back.
Camus said no.
And now he moved out, and he's gone. David Madore did the same thing on the county council when he tried to use his enormous amounts of wealth to buy his influence, and it ended up in a disaster. I'm still waiting for that third bridge, by the way. So
maybe he'll build it someday.
So I would hope that if, and again, giving them the benefit of the doubt, if the Maddox brothers are doing this intentionally, please look back on other individuals that have tried to do so, and it has never ended well.
Yeah, I think there are issues that people care more about, than creating that Christian nationalist utopia that you mentioned. And to your point, community members are smart enough to know when they are being lied to, when community leaders or business leaders aren't being transparent. And so I agree with you. I think that they will push back if in fact that's their intention. Senator Adrian Cortes, thank you so much for being on the show today. We really appreciate your insight. This is not a light topic. And I suspect that we will continue to hear more about it, not just at the local level, but also at the national level. So again, thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure being on here.
Absolutely. Folks, that is our show for today. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, leave a comment, and hit the notification bell. We will see you next time.